skin today. Though the rain wash away. Oh, come on, look inside. Everybody just get in line. No, nothing's free but you and me. But we fight and we lie and we destroy what we believe. While you're worried about your deity, here I am, just worried about you and me. Yeah, while you're worried about your deity, here I am, just worried about you and me. No, I scream and you're screaming, we stand for nothing. Yeah, I scream and you're screaming, we all want morphine. Oh, kill those dreams. Oh, I can see, yeah, but I just don't believe. And if I were you and you were me, maybe we could just get together and you would see. Oh, we're all the enemy. And while you're worried about your deity, here I am, just worry about you and me. And while you're worried about your deity, here I am, take a good look at you and me. Oh, why can't you see? Yeah, I scream and you're screaming, we stand for nothing, we stand for nothing. Yeah, I scream and you're screaming, we all want morphine, we all want morphine. Oh, kill those dreams. Oh, close your eyes, count to 10, just hold your breath in there. Oh, close your eyes, count to 10, just hold your breath in there. Wash away their sins. While you're worried about your deity, here I am, just worry about you and me. While you're worried about your deity, here I am, take a good look at you and me. Oh, it's all you know, it's no surprise, all their bullet holes full of lies. Oh, it's all you know, it's no surprise, all their bullet holes full of lies.
Your love is my drug. I get high and can't get enough. You make me feel like a fiend. It's your skin and your touch. Must be a sin if I like it this much. It's the best that I've ever seen. You're all I need. The blood in my veins and the air that I breathe. You're all I need to get by. When you bleed, I bleed. I feel what you feel and I see what you see. It's your love that gets me so high. It gets me so high. I like it this much. It's the best that I've ever seen. You're all I need, the blood in my veins and the air that I breathe. You're all I need to get by. When you bleed, I bleed. I feel what you feel and I see what you see. It's your love that gets me so high. It gets me so high. Your love gets me so high. Gets me so high. Your love gets me so high.
20 years ago, a prank took his life.
Remember, you can't tell anybody about this or you're dead.
A curse was born. The quiet little town of Brower, Illinois moved on.
So what happened?
One day, he just up and disappeared. I say it doesn't add up. There's something we're missing here.
Until...
My husband, God rest his soul, he was obsessed with that video store. All kinds of weird things used to happen there.
Yeah, fascinating. Hope you sell the rest of your shit, lady.
What's all that?
We hit a bunch of garage sales today and got all these movies and stuff.
Yeah, check it out. Thought we could maybe like hook this thing up, see if there's any like homemade porn, snuff films.
You guys bought VCR and Rewinder? You know I don't really need this. Was this supposed to sound like that? Probably not, but it's seen better days.
This still works. Must be my lucky day.
And now, Jacob is back.
911, what's your emergency?
My friends, there's blood everywhere. They're all hurt, they're hurt real bad.
Sir, are you there?
No, sorry! No.
TapeHead, the return of Jacob Cobb.
It's Brower, Illinois. What's the worst that could happen?
What is up? And finally, Cyber Skull Media has come back to the internet. What's up, everyone? We are back. It is the Cyber Skull Lounge. It's been a minute since we've had a good one of these. The last one we did was for the Super Bowl, so that was a blast. But we're here, and I am your host, Thundy, joined by my epic co-hosts above me,
Mr. Shades.
You're not gonna tell them where I'm at? That's fine. Hi, I'm Crude. Joined by my friend.
Yeah, I said you're both above me technically. And then we have an illustrious guest tonight, Mr. Dustin Mattson of 3B Video.
Hello, internet fans. There it is.
We're gonna ask him some questions tonight. But before we get into all of that, we've got a few of our announcements to roll through.
Announce them.
What is up, everyone? Brandy Sickles, VHS Mikey, all of our newcomers.
Brandy, Mikey. Howdy.
Wait, let me pull this up. I did not have that.
You're not prepared.
Correctly. So
what are you doing?
Aha. We still got some magnets, lighters, and t-shirts. If you'd like a t-shirt, shoot us a message. We're going to be placing our next order for our round of t-shirts here fairly soon. So you can see we're Much Wow by Time Magazine, Fancy Shit by Rolling Stone Magazine, If the Beth from Mike Tyson, and you aren't cool unless you have a Cyber Skull shirt from Chuck Norris. So there you have it.
Tremendous statement from the former heavyweight champion of the world, Iron Mike Tyson.
We can get any size you need. So
any size you need. If it fits me, it fits everyone.
Our biggest we've gotten so far is a 6X tall.
That's serious business.
So we got you. We got you covered.
Yeah, we ain't fucking around.
Also,
yeah, we put it on a fridge.
A couple of our regulars, their mom was just recently diagnosed with colon cancer. So if anyone feels the urge to donate to help out a local family in need, I just posted the link in the chat. It should load here in a second.
Do it with your money now.
If it doesn't, shoot. There we go. So yeah, we like to help out those in need that are especially part of our community that are here every weekend and week out. We like to help our own. And for those of you who are also new, we do something called Hot Shots every week, which is for every $10 donation, we spin this little wheel here, and whatever it lands on, we put that hot sauce in a shot of alcohol.
It's a terrible idea. Terrible.
I'm not participating. I'm just here to talk, not drink.
Shades and I participating in the hot side of things.
Yeah. Health-wise, I cannot, but I can take the shot.
If you notice, we have a TapeHead sauce on here. TapeHead sauce is in our wheel. These are all our open sauces. We've got probably about 12 more sauces to add to this wheel. We just got to shoot videos yet.
Oh, Lordy.
So aside from that, the other things we do is for one, I don't know if it's going to work in this one. We'll find out. Once a stream, we will do for one $20 donation, a shot of 151 proof rocket fuel and blast off to the stars. So, yes, this is how we make money on our channel with pain for your pleasure, our pain, your gain. That's how we roll. So,
true. It's true.
Are rolling in here, Mr. Dustin Mattson of 3B Video. You can find his Instagram, and then we've got links to the rest of 3B Video stuff in our video description. So you can go check out their YouTube page and subscribe over there. Keep up to date on what they're doing. So yeah, if you'd like to give us a little introduction about yourself, so if people don't know who you are, they can find out.
Yeah. Who the fuck are you?
I apparently am the award-winning director of the TapeHead short, and yeah, that's new to say. Very strange. So I am a YouTuber at 3B Video, where we cover and discuss old school retro horror films, from everything from the weirdest of the weird. And then every once in a while, we dip our toe into covering cryptids, UFOs, Bigfoot, yada, yada, Loch Ness Monster. We do a little bit of everything on the YouTube channel. Then that sort of ported over into our podcast, which is called the Deep Cut Podcast. And you can find that on all major podcast apps. It's absolutely free, where we do kind of a condensed version of what we do on YouTube, but in audio form. So if you want to listen to us while you're driving to work or plotting a rampage, you are more than welcome to do that. But I am a amateur director, I suppose, writer, director, editor, effects artist, and everything under the sun when it comes to cinema. Started with a couple of short skits for the YouTube channel, and then kind of graduated to making a bigger skit or bigger short, and now doing my very first feature film. So kind of a little bit of everything.
Yes.
All right.
Hell
All
yes,
right.
dude. Long road, but we're
It's true. It's a very long road.
Yes.
And I used to work with Mr. Crude up there, and one of our many factory jobs, and I would always just talk the most shit about how I did not belong there, and I was going to do something different.
we don't belong here.
I don't
Dude, and
belong.
that's
No.
such a cool, like, seeing the road, you know what I mean? Like, just
Right.
knowing the stuff that people go through to get to where they are. It wasn't just like all of a sudden, you know, there was so much fucking work. So that's
Yeah, well,
awesome.
and I'm also like, I'm kind of a victim of my own I don't want to say ego, but like I hate to sit still. So, you know, I mean, growing up, I was in multiple hip hop groups and was on tour and did music for a very long time. And then when I got tired of that, I decided I would try to be a professional mixed martial artist. And that lasted for a number of years. And then worked in some terrible factory jobs, worked some terrible construction. And then just kind of decided I'm going to ask some people if I can work on film sets. And that's kind of what like planted the seed, like get me in the ground floor and see where it goes from there. And it led here somehow, some way.
Awesome. 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 Give it everything you got.
I gotta give VHS Mikey a shout out in the chat because he said Dusty Buns talked me into quitting my very comfortable job. And I did. I was like, you don't belong here, man. You're a content creator. You're far too talented to do this. And
yeah, if
sorry,
you're not
Mikey.
trying to do something you at least love, I mean, you living, you know? Are you living? You really living?
Yeah. You know, I mean, what's the difference? I was eating ramen noodles before, so I'm eating ramen noodles now, but I'm happy. So
I'm doing what I love. Yeah, that's the freaking difference, dude. You know, I mean, it's not really work when you love it. It's just
LIVIN.
fucking love.
Yep.
I feel that. So we're gonna rotate these down.
Yeah. You want to take the next question, Mr. Crude?
Yeah. I kind of know some of this. So that, I mean, like, the answer is somewhat to this question, but when did your love for horror movies start, my boy?
Oh Lord, way too young. I'll say that. You know, my dad was many things, but among those things, he was a horror aficionado, a horror connoisseur, if you will. And when I was growing up in the late 80s, early 90s, my dad got this brand new thing called a VCR, and he would, you know, record every movie ever. And so we had this giant wooden shelf filled with movies that my dad would like catalog. He had like a little leather bound book, and he'd give every movie a number, you know? So like Nightmare on Elm Street 3 would be on the same tape as like Ernest Goes to Jail and maybe Short Circuit 2. And so I could look through that book and find movies. But my dad was, I guess, just like, I don't want to say he was a bad parent, but you know what I mean? Very like loose, because like as soon as my mom would leave and go to work, my dad would be like, there's a new show. It's going to be on Tales from the Crypt, or it's going to be on HBO. It's called Tales from the Crypt. We're going to watch it, you know? And so we'd watch Tales from the Crypt, and I was like 5 or 6 when that premiered. And like, same thing with, today I think you can handle Elm Street 3, and he would just let me watch the gnarliest stuff ever. And it just kind of got stuck to where they became like comfort. Like I would watch Friday the 13th Part 4 every day if I could. If they weren't watching it in the living room, they'd be like, yeah, you can take it to your room, and I'm like a 6-year-old and there's all kinds of boobs and gore, and which I would never let my kids at 6, 7 watch those things. But,
Right.
My dad was probably a little inebriated and said, whatever. So
he's like, hey, don't look. Like,
yeah, cover your eyes, one of these things.
Blanket.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so
Dude,
very young. And it just never stopped, and it's slowly like becoming a thing for both of my kids, like, because we have the video store in the basement, so they're getting a little braver with their selection. So
awesome.
Not to interrupt, but
That's
thank
so
you,
awesome.
Mr. Hunterfoot, for subscribing to the channel. Fun fact, director Dustin Mattson's favorite music theme of all time is the Puppet Master theme song.
that's a fucking bold-faced lie, and he knows it. I despise the music to those movies. Hunterfoot, welcome to the chat. He is an actor in Tapehead, Return of Jacob Cobb. He plays Blake Rushmore. So yeah,
Okay,
awesome.
okay.
Come hanging out, and this was his acting debut, if you will. So yeah,
Awesome. Looking forward to seeing it. Well, do you have the questions pulled up, Shades?
Yes, sir.
Would you like to ask him the next question?
What is your favorite horror film?
Oh, that's a loaded question.
Yeah.
It's
you only got 2 hours, so
we
okay.
go as long as you want.
Yeah, we got this.
It's Saturday night.
It all depends, right? Like, there's so many different, like, I mean, even if you're going to say like slashers, you have so many subcategories of slashers. You have like holiday slashers, you have supernatural slashers, but yeah, there's such a like large array of different little subcategories. Primarily, I'm a big fan of just your like undead slasher movies. If I was like stuck on a desert island and I could like have a Blu-ray player and like one movie for the rest of my life, it would probably be Friday the 13th Part 4. I think that one is like the closest thing to a perfect slasher movie ever. I don't want to butcher the guy's name, but Joseph Zito directed Friday the 13th Part 4, and I think it was like the last time Jason was scary. So I love Jason, but Part 4, there's something about it. Like in later films, like everyone is aware of the legend of Jason, you know what I mean? So like everybody, like there are people who warn them like, oh, don't go to the camp. That camp is cursed, blah, blah, blah. And like, there's always some like voice of reason. Like you shouldn't go there. You shouldn't do that. And in Friday the 13th Part 4, nobody knows the trouble that they're in. Like there's a family living on the lake, and then right next door, there's a vacation home that gets rented by a bunch of kids. And they're all just like, you would watch an hour-and-a-half movie of them like trying to get laid and drinking alcohol and skinny dipping. Like it would be like Porky's, you know, you would just have a good time with that movie. But the fact that they're about to get murdered and they have no idea is even better. So like, I love that aspect. Like
it's not somebody just doing something stupid, like I'm going to go there anyway. It's like,
I should go investigate that noise.
That's why you put the creepy old fuck at the gas station.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of my bread and butter is that type of movie. I really like when people don't know how close to death they really are, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like in the first Halloween, which is another prime example of like just teenagers doing teenager things on a night, and they are completely unaware that someone is coming for them. There's no like warning whatsoever. And by the time the warning gets there, everyone is dead. So You know, that's what I like. That's the kind of stuff I like.
We had a chat question along those lines. Like, what's your favorite horror character?
Yeah, that's probably a...
So, you know, I mean, I probably want to say Jason because he has such a large filmography, but there's a lot of like smaller movies that I like. So there's movies like the Psycho Cop, like 1 and 2, which they don't get any love because they're like little cheapy, like made for Cinemax type movies, but just weird things like that. Like the more like off the beaten track, the more like bottom shelf of the horror like section at your local mom and pop video store, the better for me. You know, The Dorm That Dripped Blood or whatever, like some weird movie like that no one has ever seen, and I'm like, this is the greatest thing ever. You know,
You see what? Creep movies, Creep 1 and Creep 2.
Oh yeah,
those are pretty great.
Mark Duplass made those movies. Yeah, he's fantastic. I love the first one.
Not as many people
more,
have heard of those, but they're pretty great.
Yeah, he's a stud. That's a really inventive like way to do found footage also. So
for sure. Especially my introduction to him was with The League. So doing comedy stuff about fantasy football. And then I go watch him do this crazy off the rails character. I'm like, this dude's got range.
Yeah. And he, I think he wrote and directed that as well. So like he had a very like big hand in that movie being made, and he's fantastic.
Absolutely.
This is all me. I did all this.
That sounds familiar.
Same lines. What was your start? Like, what got you started onto your content creation journey?
Okay. So I started out, and I'm not like the most gifted writer of all time, but I have a buddy in New York named Frank Fulci. Shout out to one of the most talented people I know. And he was going to start a website called Repulsive Reviews where he covered horror films, and he needed people to write reviews on movies. And he was like, you don't have to do it every day or anything. And, you know, just pick movies, write reviews so that we have like a catalog of written reviews for movies. So he kind of like gave me my first gig writing reviews. And then one of my wife's best friends who used to write reviews for the newspaper here, Tori Hop, she was visiting one day, and I don't know what happened, but we were talking about Jason Takes Manhattan, and I was getting really animated, and everyone was laughing, and they were like, this is hilarious. Like, you should do this on camera. You should just ramble about why Jason Takes Manhattan is awesome. And she's like, I actually have my camera. So we went down into the movie room, and like, you know, overhead crappy lighting and no good audio, and I just rambled about this movie, and she put it on YouTube, and I sent it to Frank of Repulsive Reviews, and he was like, this is hilarious. You should do this all the time. So I started doing, I think, 3 to 5 videos a week covering different movies. And I stayed on that trajectory for like 4 years, I think. So
I remember that. I remember that.
It was a very long 4 years of my life. It aged me. I'm not gonna front.
Yeah. Doing 3 to 5? Is that what you said? 3 tests?
Yeah, 3 to 5
crazy,
videos
bro.
a week.
Like,
yeah, it was madness. Leaf King asked me what my opinion on the original Evil Dead series is. Evil Dead 1 will forever be a massive influence on me. That is guerrilla filmmaking at its finest. I love Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, and the reboot, and I'm looking forward to the new Evil Dead. But as far as I'm concerned, Evil Dead 1 is like the king. It's the creme de la creme. Like, they made it with no money and just a bunch of kids spilling blood on each other for like a full year, you know? So yeah, that movie's up here for me on a pedestal for sure.
Pretty bummed when the series got canceled.
Yeah. Sad day. I love Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, he's amazing.
So, kind of moving on, one thing that always interested me was your like Crypticon stuff. So I don't have like maybe a specific question, but like, what was that experience like? How'd you get into it? You know, that kind of thing,
Dude.
because that's not something that everybody does. You know what I mean? And it was so interesting and so awesome to see. So, kind of just tell us about that.
Yeah, which is oddly enough, Crypticon is like it's the genesis of me getting into filmmaking. Like if I never went to Crypticon, I would not be sitting here. I would have not shot a movie. So, Crypticon came about because my wife and I had never really like gone on a big vacation. We'd never really done anything, you know, expensive. We'd gotten married and it'd been like 5 years since we'd been married, and we never did like a big honeymoon or anything. And I just happened to see an advertisement on Facebook for Crypticon Kansas City for 2013. And we both like immediately got super hyped about it. So we started like, we'll take some of our tax return, we'll put it off to the side, and then we'll like just kind of hoard money off to the side, you know, instead of going out to eat or buying movies or doing whatever, we'll just save more money and we'll go on this vacation. So we went to Crypticon 2013 in Kansas City, and we went like 3 days early because I was like, if we go super early, like celebrities will show up and like we'll see them before the convention. It's genius, you know? So we went early, and the people who run Crypticon, it's a family, Chaz DeMoss and his wife, and he's got like 9 kids, and they're like this amazing team. And they were setting up in the lobby, like doing VIP bags, like putting shirts and comics and stuff. And Gara DeMoss is Chaz's wife. And we kind of like, we're walking by and we overheard her kind of panicking. And she was like, all the volunteers did not show up. Like, we're missing staff. We're missing this. We're missing that. And so my wife, because she's not an introvert, she's an extrovert, she walked over and she's like, you guys need some help, maybe? And they're like, no, we got it. You know, like kind of who the hell are these fucking weird people? And so we went off and kind of did our thing, went into the bar at the hotel and like played some pool and had a burger or whatever. And like 2 hours later, come back out and they're still there. But now they're like in full blown panic mode. They're like freaking out. And so my wife goes up and is like, if you need some help, like we will help you. Like, I promise we're not fucking weirdos or anything. And they're like, okay. So we started helping them. And like we ended up helping kind of off and on throughout that whole weekend. And when we left on Sunday evening, I had given Chaz and his wife our phone number. And we weren't even all the way home. So we're like an hour away from Kansas City. And he calls and he's like, hey, are you guys going to come back next year? I'm like, yeah, probably. And he's like, if you do, like, we'll comp your room. Like, you'll be part of staff if you want to be like officially on staff. And so that kind of changed our whole shit. But during Crypticon, there was an independent filmmaker named James Balsamo, who was one of the vendors. And he makes movies for like $7. Like, he's grassroots indie guy. And he was selling his movies, and he's a very charismatic guy, very P.T. Barnum. He kind of like lulled me over to his table and he's like, here's the deal. If you buy one of my movies, it's $10. But if you buy 3 of my movies, I'll sell them to you for $20. And I'll like put you in this drawing where you and your wife could be killed in my movie. And I'm like, that's a pretty good deal. So I bought a couple of his movies and filled out this thing. And it was like Saturday night at like 2 a.m. We were like going to our room, going to bed, and we opened the elevator and he's in the elevator and he's like, I was looking for you guys. I'm like, at 2 a.m. in the elevator? Like, I doubt it, but you know, and he's like, you guys got time to shoot your death scene? Like right now? I'm like, sure. So like, we kind of start walking around the hotel and there's like a door that says like employees only. And he goes over to it and like jimmies the handle and it opened. And he's like, we're going to go in here. Like, we had no business in this room. We go into this like back laundry room and he's like, okay, now do this and do this. And like, he shot this scene for us like really quick and put us in the movie. And like, from then on, we were Facebook friends and stuff. And so he would always like hey man, I'm doing this other movie. You want to do another part or whatever? Like really cool with like helping me out. Cause I didn't know like what I was doing or if I wanted to make films, but he was like the kickoff, and I never would have met him if it wasn't for somehow, some way, like weaseling into working for Crypticon. So I owe those guys, I owe them all like everything.
Yeah, because you think about that series event that you just said. I mean, volunteers didn't have to had to not show up.
Mm-hmm.
Your wife had to be who she is, right? I mean, like,
yeah.
And then and then twice, you know what I mean? That happened twice. You're like, hey, you know what? We're still here. Like most people would just be like, talking crap, basically. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, see, they turned down our help, and now look at them. They're like, you know what I mean?
Right. Well, and
it's
like, yeah, it's definitely
basically
because she's because my wife is an extrovert. Because if I had been there by myself, I'd have just walked right by, And I mean, because I'm not good at like breaking the ice with people. I'm very socially awkward. I kind of like hide in my house. So, yeah.
Which is crazy because your job is to entertain.
On camera, it's different, man.
I'm still in my house. We're still good. I feel
That's
that.
true.
I totally understand that.
Yeah, I get very like socially overwhelmed very easily, but it's different when you're making a movie because you're like hanging out with all your buddies and like I haven't had any bad experiences so far. Like everybody's like just wants to have fun, and that makes it easier. Like, when you're at work and you got like a boss and you got all this other stress, like if we don't get this done, we have to come in Saturday and work at 12 or whatever. Like it's different when you're making a movie because no one cares. Like I wouldn't care if I'm working 20 hours because my feet hurt and this sucks, but like this is the most fun ever. Like I'm all sticky and covered in blood and like we're all just having fun.
We're doing the thing. And that's what, yeah, I mean, yep. Absolutely. Hit him,
Alexa says I do hide in the house. I don't know. Yeah, Alexis. Yeah, I do hide in the house. That's what I do.
So, where did it come from? What led to the start of 3B? Like,
yes, the 3Bs. It
yes.
Not many people ask me about that, to be honest with you. There's like, okay, 3B video. That has like a kind of a weird lineage. So growing up, I don't know, you guys are all about my age or close to my age. There used to be a show on TNT called Monster Vision, like way back, late 90s, early 2000s. And it was hosted by a guy named Joe Bob Briggs. And he was like a redneck, and he would sit out in front of a trailer and he would do this thing called the drive-in totals where he'd be like, you got, 19 titties, you got 7 dead bodies, and like all this crazy stuff. And I never missed his show. And he always used to say, you can't make a movie without the 3Bs. And the 3Bs are blood, boobs, and beasts. So that kind of became like this weird little moniker for me. And once I met my YouTube co-host, who I also met at Crypticon, which is fucking crazy. We both were talking about Joe Bob Briggs one day, and the 3Bs came up, and it was like, well, of course that's has to be our thing, So it's kind of a weird little deep cut in and of itself. And not a lot of people ask me that at all. So that's pretty fucking awesome.
Right. I was interested. I was like, I wonder where, like, because, and maybe that question maybe came from us, maybe your thought a little bit more is because, like, I remember our creative kind of start to finding, like, cyber school media, like, what is this? And, you go through all that stuff. So it's always interesting to me to figure out where people had brought their inspirations from or their stuff from. So that's really cool, dude. That's awesome.
So, and the other thing too is like when it's Joe Bob he's back, like he's active. He has his own show on Shudder. If any of you have the Shudder app, but he was absent from the scene for years. Monster Vision ended, I want to say 2005, 2006. And then from then, like he wrote a couple books. He did a couple other things. He's in Casino. You know, he did a couple small acting gigs here and there, but basically he would like tour, like he would go to places when he had a new book out, or like he would like rent a theater and host a movie. Like he would show Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 and he'd talk for like 10 minutes before the movie. And then like you could meet him and get his autograph and stuff. But there was this absence where he didn't have a platform to kind of do the Monster Vision thing. And then once Shudder became a channel and they gave him a job, so he kind of rebranded and it changed from Monster Vision to The Last Drive-In. And when that happened, that was probably 3 years ago. So like we were already like full swing in like our Joe Bob Briggs tribute to be like, remember him, like remember how awesome he was. And now he's back. So I almost feel like I'm going to eventually have to retire 3B because like I was doing it to honor him. And now that he's active again, like, you know what I mean? But also his show's not called 3B. So
yeah, well,
it's mine
and
now,
you,
damn it.
maybe one day you'll get the chance to talk to him. He might be like, that's fucking awesome. Like, I mean,
right.
Basically, I mean, he may think it's awesome. Like,
so fun sidebar about that. He does know about TapeHead. He
okay.
he owns the short, and he gave me advice on how to market this one and make this one better and bigger. And yeah, he's kind of become like a weird mentor, like a guy who I used to stare at on a TV screen and write him letters, you know, like a little 9-10-year-old kid writing this guy letters, will actually talk to me and like kind of give me that like perspective on like the inside of the industry because I don't have it. So very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. I mean, you hear people talk about like meeting their heroes and then being able to work maybe one day with them and all that stuff. And just being on that ladder, dude, is awesome.
Mm-hmm. Who knows where it'll go? I don't know. So,
well, the last question we've got before we get into talking about TapeHead, do you have any favorite moments from 3B to date that are noteworthy you'd like to talk about?
Pick out a 3 or something.
Oh, okay.
Awesome.
I might need my tech man's brain on some of this, but who is off screen, by the way, Mr. Remix is here with me, but I'm going to go. I've got a couple things specifically going back to discussing Jason Takes Manhattan. So there's a full circle thing about that. Jason Takes Manhattan was, I think, the very first YouTube review I ever did. And then fast forward X amount of years, Jason Takes Manhattan was a movie we were covering on a live stream. And it was our first live stream where we were monetized. So we made a ton of money that night, like because people could officially support us. And so Jason Takes Manhattan comes back like twofold with that. I'm trying to think, man. There's some interesting things that we did, and I think number 2 would have to be obviously you guys live in the same town as me, so you may remember a few years back when the town of Shenandoah decided that it was going to be underwater, so we had to deal with the town flooding. And when the town flooded, that forced me to clean out the movie room, like take all the movies out so nothing would get damaged, tear out walls, do a bunch of stuff. So once that was done, that's when we decided to rebuild it in the shape of a video store. So when the flood happened, we rebuilt it into the shape of a video store. And then we started doing like skits. So I'm probably going to say we did a Halloween special when that flood happened. And I basically decided I was going to be like Joe Bob Briggs, where I showed the entire film of the original Night of the Living Dead because it was public domain. So I could put that on YouTube. And I created my own little commercial, like interludes where I talked about like what had happened in the movie so far. So turning the basement into the video store, which became 3B video officially.
Right.
And then last one would have been, was that 2 years ago, Remix, when we did the other Halloween special? Was it 2020? It was like COVID time.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
2020 during like COVID devilness. We shot we shot a different Halloween special where I decided, like, we didn't have any money, but I thought if we filmed it like as best as we could, and like we did it like our normal like top fives or whatever, but we gave it a little bit of a structure, like a film, that it would be different from everybody else on YouTube. And that video did really well, but it also let me know that even with no money, I could shoot something that looked as good as some of the like Wild Eye horror movies that you can buy at Walmart. Some of the like lower end horror movies you buy at Walmart,
Yeah,
like
the 3-in-1 disc type stuff.
yeah, like
Yeah,
I'm
gotcha.
on par with those, and that was kind of like a big feather in my cap. Like, oh, maybe if I wrote something, I would like make something that didn't suck so bad. So
Right.
you know,
Instead of just being that guy on the couch who's like, I could do something better than this, you're like, I'm gonna do something better than
yeah,
this.
which
You know, like I'm gonna
is
I'll fucking do it.
That's a gift and a curse. I've heard from multiple people, including Remix. Basically, you know, I'm the guy who, like, whenever I say like I'm gonna do something, I do it. I go all in. Like, I'm gonna tour the United States and be in a hip hop group. I did it. You know, like, I'm gonna be a professional fighter for fucking 7 years. I did it. I got my face broken, but I did it. You know, I'm gonna make a movie, and now here we are, and I did it. So
So can we find the arson trait in the music genre somewhere in downloads? Can we download that?
you're not gonna find any of my hip hop on like Spotify, but there's a few tracks floating around out there in YouTube land. So I mean, if you really determined to listen to me rap,
good.
I don't know if I'd
Don't
say it's
tempt
so
me.
good, but
You to sign my CD that day that I found that, and I was like, "Here's your picture." I'm like, "Look what I found."
we got my YouTube co-host in the chat. Evil Dead Inc. says, I hear this guy has some kind of YouTube channel and made a movie. And then he also said, I have all of his CDs. You have a fraction of them. I've maybe 16 professional studio albums. I don't know. I can't even remember. I'm so old now.
Speaking of,
awesome.
of the video store, we may not this year, but typically every October we've got our own Mikey Myers saga of shorts we do, and Mikey visited 3B Video and rented some videos.
That's true.
He did quite interested in Buns of Steel.
I mean,
a good one.
How can you not be? You know,
Truth. Yeah, I even got to visit there. That is so fucking awesome, bro.
It's got low ceilings for a guy of your stature, but you know, it's perfect for someone like me.
And this scene will forever be in our intro. The 3B video will forever be in our intro.
With the crite.
Forever in my intro, forever in my heart.
Look at that full beard.
Lots of TapeHead love over here. Lots of TapeHead love. You know.
I appreciate that.
Mikey, renting videos.
Glorious.
So, do you guys just want to start spilling over?
Yeah, let's roll into asking about TapeHead.
I might whatever.
Step away for like 5 seconds.
If anybody needs a quick break before we roll into TapeHead, we can do that.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Quick bathroom break.
Little one.
I'll throw up.
I'm good, sir.
I'll throw up that little video. It's 4 minutes of Mikey rents a movie because I'm gonna go take a bathroom break as well.
Good enough for me.
And we will be right back, ladies and gentlemen, and we will talk TapeHead on the other side of this break. So don't go anywhere.
12 seconds later. Tomorrow.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, on the other side of that break.
Yes.
Little ASMR.
That sounds delicious.
It's a coffee and cream milkman stout from Confluence.
Just rocking some tap water.
Coming.
Hashtag tap water.
It's delicious.
Delicious.
And from the shadows. See that? Just like.
Wow.
Is that a new backdrop? No, that's just Crude standing up.
Hunter said, all those puppets on the counter are an homage to his love for the Puppet Master theme song. Fun fact.
I'm gonna kill you, Rush. You're a dead man, Rush.
Mikey
I like
said
the movies.
The
I just hate
reflection
that
made
goddamn
me
music.
think that was a Kool-Aid burst at first.
Just fucking crashing through the wall.
Crude's got to dress up like Kool-Aid Man now. That's going to be our horror movie. Everybody's doing Winnie the Pooh and all these things. We're going to do the Kool-Aid Man. And Crude's going to dress up like Kool-Aid Man.
I don't want to get started. I do not want to get started about this Winnie the Pooh and or drug plus animal trend or the Amityville trend. I'm over it. I'm fucking over it.
So instead of talking about movies that were over, why don't we talk about a movie that's coming out soon? The whole reason we're here tonight.
All right. Near you.
The Return of Jacob Cobb.
He's coming back. Yeah, whatever's clever, man. Whatever you want to know. I'm an open book to an extent when it comes to the secrets of this film, but
is there nudity in this feature?
Kind of. I'm gonna just say kind of.
Well, we had a question for that, so we will get to that here shortly.
All right.
So,
Okay.
I guess this first one's kind of a two-parter question. Like, what came first, the idea of TapeHead the character or the concept for the movie? And like, where did the idea of TapeHead come from? And was the goal always to make a movie with TapeHead?
What came first, the tape or the rewinder? Okay. So we got to go way back in the time machine when it comes to the origins of TapeHead. So we talked a little bit about the YouTube channel and some of the stuff that Evil and I kind of pride ourselves on. We try to beat people to the punch. We try to do things that no one else is going to do because it's either A, too expensive, or B, just time consuming or difficult. You know what I mean? So we were trying really hard for a number of years to set ourselves apart from the rest of the horror community. And I air quotes community because it's kind of weird. It's the Wild West out there on YouTube, you know? So, but what we were trying to do was come up with something that nobody was going to be able to follow us with, because there was probably like a 2-year stretch where some of our community members, some of our followers or fellow YouTubers were emulating and or doing the exact same thing we were doing, down to our lighting, down to our review style, or down to the exact same movies, like knowing our schedule and beating us by a few days, like covering weird deep cut movies that only we would cover. So we kind of surmised this plan. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to write and release an entire season of a cartoon series. So we got to work and we wrote out maybe 6 episodes that were going to be like between 1 to 10 minute episodes, you know, like somewhere in between there, maybe 5-7 minute episodes. And we're going to just have this kind of through line, and we were going to call it Roger and Evil's Video Store Adventures. And we had characters drawn up. We had VHS Mikey enlisted to draw all of our characters. And we wanted sort of a villain to be a reoccurring problem for us at this video store. And our answer to that was a very like Jason Voorhees-esque villain named TapeHead. And in the early iterations, he was kind of a buffoon. You know, he was a big, heavy-set, like fat guy with like a big buck tooth and like drool in his mouth, kind of like a, you know, if Patrick Star was a monster. And so he had the VHS tape on his mask, and it even had like the triangle chevron like Jason had. Like, it was very silly. And Mikey had drawn all of our character poses, different mouths, different eyes. And we were very, very close to, like, we had recorded the voiceovers for the first episode and everything. And then COVID happened. So everybody got wicked depressed. You know, depression is a motherfucker and it'll get you, you know. All of a sudden I went from having like my free time to having 2 kids at home all the time. So it became like almost impossible to record videos or audio or whatever, because there was always a kid that was going to need something, you know? So, and then Mikey went through kind of a bout of depression where he was like, I just really don't want to devote like 12 hours of my day to drawing different hand poses for your stupid fucking cartoon. You know what I mean? Like, it was, we were all kind of over it. Like, we were super gung ho at the beginning, and then it kind of fizzled out because of COVID. So we were kind of left with this concept and these scripts for these episodes. And somehow, some way, I think Evil and I were having a conversation one day, and I was like, what if we just like take out all the filler and all the bullshit, and we just kind of moosh this into like a short film or a feature film, for that matter? Like, what can we do? Like, let's make TapeHead a thing, you know? And so we reached out to Mikey, and he was game, which he lives in Oklahoma. So we just had to make sure he was game to like come here and spend like 4 days with us and shoot this movie. And so then it became like, let's get on Discord and have some chats about like some dialogue and whatever we would do and turn it into something. And so we kind of whittled it down and turned it into a short film that we shot a couple summers ago in June, and it was miserable hot and terrible. But, like we managed to take this idea that we were going to throw away and turn it into something. So Tapehead never dies. We didn't let him die.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah, and
speaking
I think
on
we've
that,
definitely had some. Go ahead, Thundy.
Oh, I was just gonna say, speaking on the animation thing, like, not to try to get us to go off on any tangents, but AI animation is starting to become a thing, which may be making things easier on smaller creators trying to animate things.
For sure.
So it's always something that's interesting that down the line, maybe it'll be easy enough, that simple enough for smaller creators to go in and make these animated shows on their own without having to spend 12 hours a day animating hands.
Yeah. And I think, it's never say never, it's kind of in our back pocket. And I still think that if we were to do it, no one else would necessarily have our art style or specifically our sense of humor, because we're very different, like jaded, 39-year-old dudes who hate the culture that there is now. And like, we're very much like stuck in the video store culture, and like still boobies and farts are like the funniest fucking thing on the planet, and they never will not be,
Right.
So getting kicked in the balls, hilarious. Like I'm just a giant 12-year-old forever. So, you never know. Eventually down the road, Tapehead could become a cartoon. I would absolutely welcome that. And I think the best part about animation is, and the reason we even like leaned into it is, again, we're 38, 39-year-old guys. Like, we're starting to get gray hair. We're starting to get old, but as a cartoon, you're always like the same. Like, you're always the buff cartoon. Yeah, you're the buff cartoon. You can do 40 cartwheels if you want, because it's a cartoon, and don't have to worry about like aging necessarily. And aging on camera is not something I'm super thrilled about, but that happens with being a content creator.
Awesome?
I love
like
it.
When you see an actor like back in the day in a movie that you saw a long time ago, and you're like, oh my gosh, because it's crazy.
Right? Yeah.
I've seen that.
I don't want to get old on camera. Hey, it's not gray. It's silver. It says evil. Yeah.
On that of having ideas and also entering an idea, I think we've definitely had ideas and stuff, and then when we get into it, we're like, oh man, like this is stuff we did not foresee, or like the amount of time, the work, and so I mean, there's times where you're just like, how do we flip this? How do we turn this? And it was really cool that you guys were able to do that.
Yeah. So, I mean, we managed to just not give up on our idea. And the first Tapehead, that short, is something I'm immensely proud of. But it was one of those things, like, as soon as it got done, I went, man, I can't wait to do something like bigger, better. Like, again, I just can't sit still. I don't like it. I want to just keep making things. And I think I definitely like found my happy place. And my happy place is like working a 20-hour day on my own thing and being like on the verge of miserable, but everyone is still, like I said, everyone's having so much fun. It's hard to be like, man, fuck this, I'm going home and going to bed, when like everyone's like, you want me to do that again? Like, you want to spray me with blood again? I'm like, yes, let's do that.
Yes, I do. Yes.
Yes,
I do.
So
yes, I do.
It's definitely like where I belong.
Well, Crude.
Hit him, Shades. You want me to do it? I got you. This story began with the short film, The Origins of the Character. Was there always a plan to make a sequel whenever you did the first one? The one that was, a feature length. Was that, basically, did you have two in mind when you did one? And was it always going to be like a short and a feature length? What was the idea behind that?
Okay, so, no. Absolutely not. There was never like a franchise in mind. Not in my mind, at least. But I think it all stems kind of like from me being super naive. Like I said, we basically, and I'm gonna air quote again. Like we wrote the script for the short through like Discord calls. Like we were just like, oh, it'd be funny if you said this, and like, oh, it'd be funny if we did this, and like we just kind of bullshitted our way through writing this fucking thing. And then I was so naive in my like understanding of horror, like pacing, setup, how to pull off certain gags, that in my brain, I fully believed I was making like a scary movie. Like I really believed it was scary. And then we got into the edit and I went, oh, we're like three fat guys sitting around a table, like dressed like Alvin and the fucking Chipmunks. Like one of us is wearing red, one of us is wearing blue, one of us is wearing fucking green. Like didn't even that, it was all subconscious, like slapstick silly. So I set out to make Evil Dead, and somehow I accidentally made Evil Dead 2, which is way more fun. You know what I mean? So that kind of like bothered me a little, like kind of hurt my soul. And I was like, fuck, man, I talked so much shit and I made like a silly thing, So I was a little jaded. And I think that it started with maybe Dylan Weeks, who plays TapeHead, visiting one weekend. And he was like, man, I think we could do it like for real. Like if you sat down and like really wrote a script, like I would love to be the character again. I'd love to be like mean and menacing and like scary. Like find a way to make me scary. I want to be scary. And I was like, okay, like if you're game, because you're my monster, let me see what I can do. So I sat down and wrote the script, and like it just kind of it led us to making a full length feature where I was very cognizant of like what I did wrong in the first, so I was very like, this time around, I'm going to like plant my feet firmly in the sand and try to make him not funny. So like it all kind of started with the character design, but I'll get into that more if you have more questions. So.
All right. I gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, Shades, you want to get into the next one?
Yep.
What do you got, baby?
What was your approach on making this movie? Was it different from the first one compared to the second? About the budget difference, like what was that?
Oh yeah. So yeah, like I was saying, really, really like consciously wanting to make it more violent. And so here's the tricky thing about making an independent film. Like we made the first short, which is 45 minutes. We had $5,000, and we pretty much asked for every favor humanly possible from every single person, and we paid no one nothing. Like we paid.
We lost some audio.
It's like sweating, being miserable, fucking eating, huh? You lose audio?
What happened to the audio? But now you sound like a chipmunk.
Uh-oh.
Did for a second.
Wait a second.
It's super delayed now.
Oh no. Test. I'm a chipmunk.
Oh my gosh.
Alan has cursed the stream.
Oh no.
There we go.
We're back. Okay. We're back to deep voice Roger. So it was just, where were we? Oh, with the budget. Okay. So yeah. So we had the, $5,000 to make that first short, and that's not a lot of money. I mean, it really is not for the amount of things that we needed, like the locations, the set dressing, the effects. So when we were making this new movie, a lot of people were like, dude, do an Indiegogo, and give a lot of good perks and see if you can get the horror community to have your back. Because we have a fairly decent subscriber base and a following when it comes to the podcast and stuff. So reluctantly, I was like, I will do a crowdfunded campaign. And I set my goal for $20,000, which was that's a shitload of money. Like for someone like me, 20 grand is a ton of money. No audio?
Hey, hold on. Shades disappeared.
Know what's going on.
So we set the goal for 20 grand. And I was thinking, like, if I had $20,000, like, the amount of things I could do would be astronomical, right? And the crowdfunding campaign, in my opinion, was a massive failure. We ended up with about $6,000 through crowdfunding, and then Indiegogo takes, what did they take? Remix, did they take 30%? It was a massive.
Oh yeah, it was huge.
They took a
30%.
giant chunk. Yeah, they take a big chunk of the money you earn, which kind of knocked us back down to about $5,000, which is what we shot the short for. And I was sick to my stomach and kind of panicking, like, how can I shoot a feature for $5,000 when I struggled to shoot 45 minutes for $5,000? And my wife and I just kind of we're like, it is what it is. We'll save some money off to the side. Perhaps maybe borrow some money from some people who are willing to loan us money. And somehow, some way we managed to get like another $2,000, $2,400. So, to add to that $5,000. And we ended up like struggling and shooting this whole movie for about $7,200, $7,300. So, I mean, it worked, but the reasoning behind wanting $20,000 wasn't necessarily so we could do like really big, crazy things. It was so that we could pay people what they were worth. And I feel like that's the most important to me, is making sure, like, if you're going to be shooting with me for 12, 13 hours, like, you need to be taken care of. Like, I need to feed you and pay you. And again, with working with kind of the same people we worked with on the last film, people were pretty cool with being like, you don't have to pay me today. You don't have to give me any money. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do that. Even though I would still slip them money when it was convenient. But a lot of people kind of did the same thing, like just work for free because they believed in what we were doing. And that made the atmosphere like, I got out of my like sad sack me, woe is me shit. So
you're giving me the best you, I'll give you the best me.
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely. I don't know if anyone else, I don't know. Is everyone back?
This is all jacked up now.
Maybe. Yeah.
Let me go to a be right back. We'll get this fixed.
Okay.
And we'll come right back. All right. Be right back, guys.
We'll come.
All right. Well, with that technical difficulty out of the way,
Whoa.
we are back, baby.
Not a bad fix. Yeah. This is a quick one, boys.
It's a quick one. Just, computer freezing up and whatnot. Quick restart. We're good to go. We're good to go,
Couple of beep boop bops.
Yep. We've always discussed renaming our stream, just our whole channel, just technical difficulties.
Yeah,
always.
They never stop, man. They never stop.
Never stop.
Hashtag fuck you, Mediacom. Shots fired.
I've had the
Let's
best
go.
internet after they finally fixed the issue recently.
I don't think they fixed it.
But,
Rounds drawn.
Channels that have like thousands of people watching their live streams, and they have technical issues too. And they're like, I changed nothing from last week, but it's acting differently. So
not me.
It
I'm
is.
perfect.
That's just the game, man.
I have a remix, so
our typical stagehand who's off camera is not here tonight, so we're gonna blame him. Anyways, we have another question here.
Okay.
Casting for TapeHead. Did you have auditions? Did you have certain people in mind? And that goes for both TapeHead specifically as well as supplemental actors.
I was never ever entertaining the thought of someone else playing Jacob Cobb. I will just go ahead and throw that out there. My boy Dylan Weeks is a freak of human nature. He is a terrifyingly large individual, even though he's not like he's not like Crude height. He's maybe 5'9" on a good day on top of a hill, but I mean, he's throwing Volkswagen buses, he's
I was going to say he's a different type of big,
he's a tank of a human being.
Swole AF.
So he was never like in danger of being replaced in any way, shape, or form. When it comes to the actual casting, I just kind of used my wife's, I guess like her social ability we reached out to some people that, she used to run the movie theater. So, she gave, I think, Emily Squires maybe her first job, which was at the movie theater. And Emily had wanted to model and act. And I think we were able to pull some strings a few years back and like get her a couple of gigs. So, and then she had stopped acting for a while because she like had some kids and, was become like being a mom and doing mom stuff and wasn't sure she wanted to act anymore. So, I had Megan reach out to her and say, if she's interested, like we'd totally like to have her. And she was interested. So she jumped on. Obviously my YouTube, cohort, Evil Dead Inks, he can't tell me no because he loves me so much. So he was like, sure, I'll be in the movie again and be someone completely different and, let you, throw blood on me or whatever. So he was in, but, they came to like one of our lead actors. We needed kind of like a gangly, I don't want to say like a dork, but we needed like not like your typical like leading man type guy. Like we needed a good like best friend who could be like geeky, but who could also get the girl possibly. So, Megan knew Dakota Murrin, and he had acted in some plays here in town and done tons of other things, acting in plays and musicals and stuff. So she said she thought he would be pretty good. So I reached out to him and he was game. So we had those roles taken care of. And then our good buddy Rush, aka Hunter Foot, in the audience. I'd known him for a few years, and I'd always kind of, same thing with you, Crude, like, one day I'm going to do this, one day I'm going to make a movie, da-da-da-da. And he always had my back, and he was like, if you ever do, man, I'd love to be in something you're doing. I've never acted, but I'd love to. So I shot him a message and said, hey, I'm writing this script. You want to play this character? And he was like, yep, I'm there. So he jumped in. The main person that we struggled with was our lead final girl. Her name is Pam in the movie, and I had a very like specific type of actress in mind, I guess. Like for anyone who's familiar with like the original Nightmare on Elm Street, the girl who plays Nancy, her name is Heather Langenkamp, and she's very like meek and mild, but towards the end of the movie, like she's handling all the business, like she's the tough one. And, you know, like you'd expect like Johnny Depp or like the tough kid with the leather jacket and the switchblade to be like the ones that would give Freddy the run for their money, but it ends up being this kind of like meek, mild girl. And same thing with Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween. You know, before she was Jamie Lee Curtis, she was just Janet Leigh's daughter, and she's just kind of meek and mild. And so I wanted that type of look. And I'd given the role to an actress, and she was gung-ho, like I'm all for it. And so I started sending her script pages, and she was like, yes, I'm in. And then we get a little closer to filming, and she's like, well, I have to back out. I'm going back to college. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. So like we lost that actress, and then we moved on to another person who I thought kind of fit the bill. And they were like kind of interested, but not interested enough to shoot for like 16-hour days every weekend in like, you know, the end, like July, August, and into September. So they backed out. And again, my wife, knowing people that she knows, she's like, there's a girl who I know who I think is exactly what you're looking for, who is perfect. And she works here at the depot for the moment. And she was going to go off to college and stuff. So she said, I think Zoe Griever would be perfect for this role. And I've never met this girl. So I said, is it weird for me to ask you to send me a picture of this other girl? Like, is that weird? So, you know, she sends me a picture of this girl, and immediately I was like, this is the one. So I asked my wife, like, can I message her? Like, or do you want to talk to her, or can I message her? Because like it's fucking weird. You know, you're a high school kid, or you know, an 18, 19-year-old kid, and like a 38-year-old dude's like, hey, you want to come be in a movie? Like, it's fucking gross and weird, you know? So my wife gave me permission and like prompted her that I would message her. And yeah, she took the role. So yeah. I thought you were talking, Thundy, so I stopped real quick.
Oh, no.
And so that's like the main cast, right? We had like
chipmunk thing happen for a second.
Uh-oh.
I got all chipmunky.
Johnson and Pappas.
Oh, and then so we wanted to have 2 police officers in the film, and I wanted to bring back my buddy Anthony Pond, who played the gravedigger in the short. So I asked him if he would be willing to play a cop, and he was 100% in, and he said the only way I'll do it though is if I can do some like serious stunts. Can I do some stunts? And I was like, sure. So he joined.
Waiver.
Yeah. Got Anthony Pond playing Officer Johnson, and his older brother, and my personal mixed martial artist mentor, Adam Mattson, who is my cousin, playing Officer Pappas. Adam was another story because he was upset that I didn't let him be in the first short, because he was like, oh, dude, I want to be in that. And I was like, sure, I'll give you a role. And then I wasn't able to give him a role. So when I started writing the second one, I messaged him. I said, do you still want to be in my movie? Like, do you think that would be fun? And he was like, yeah, man, I'm in. And I said, okay, I got this idea for these 2 cops. And, you know, you're the seasoned vet, and Anthony, your brother, will be playing the like new guy to the force. And they have like a very good chemistry together because they're brothers and they work together and they give each other shit nonstop. So it was like a no-brainer. But when I started writing it, I gave Adam like I gave him like monologues. And when I sent him the script, he was like, holy shit, dude. Like, I've never stood in front of a camera in my life, and you want me to like deliver all of this? So He it took a little bit for him to warm up, but once he realized it was just like play and pretend with all your buddies, he loosened up real quick. But they're some of my favorite scenes in the movie. Like I fucking I want to make like a prequel with Pappas and Johnson and just like cops, Brower PD cops, like, you know, shaky cam chasing them all around.
Before Jason Cobb, what were these two doing? Like,
yeah, sitting in a car. So
that's awesome.
And then our pizza girl, which that's Emily Weeks, which is Dylan Weeks' wife. Same kind of deal. She wanted to maybe do something in the first short, but we didn't have the time or the resources, so we just never shot anything with her. And she said, I'd like to do something small if you got something for me. So I said, okay. And had her step in and be Trina, the pizza girl. And she had a ton of fun and got to fall on her butt like a million times because I had to shoot it from a bunch of different angles. So she had, you know, her poor butt, and she had knee pads on and everything because she had to crawl on the concrete. And, you know, we kept soaking down the concrete, so it was all wet and slimy. And yeah,
awesome.
She got a little bit of rough, the rough
like,
night.
Yeah, way to give me a small part that I have to do 700-800 times. And you're like, yeah, no problem. Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah, I got you. You know, that's how it happens. Well, and so that's the other thing too, is a lot of people don't realize, like they volunteer to be in a movie and then they don't realize, like, man, I got to shoot this. I've got to do, like, just your coverage alone is going to be like a wide, a medium, and a close. And then I have to shoot like over your shoulder at the person you're having a conversation with. And then I have to shoot over their shoulder at you for the conversation you're having. You know, I mean, it's just, it's hours and hours and hours of work. And John Murren, Dakota's dad, he plays the kind of creepy, like pervy neighbor. And I had purchased like some cinema cigarettes because I was like, I really want you like smoking cigarettes. Like you seem like kind of a sleazy cigarette smoking guy.
Yeah.
And, you know, it just gives you something to do. And he goes, yeah, I don't mind smoking a real cigarette. And I was like, you do. Like, I promise you do, because you're going to have to smoke 20 of them. You know, it's not awesome. And he was pretty insistent. He's like, I'm going to smoke a real cigarette. And I said, okay. And, you know, we shot a little bit, and then, you know, you light the cigarette and take a couple puffs. And then we had to move in for a medium and then move in for a close. And like, before we were even done with the close, he's like, I'm starting to get a little lightheaded. I'm like, yeah, we're going to swap to the movie cigarettes now, because you will die. I'm not going to be responsible for giving you cancer. I promise. Like, I'm not going to do that. So
the budget on the real cigarettes. I mean, I'm sure the cinema ones maybe weren't cheap, but like, just thinking about going through all those freaking things, that's crazy.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, we used to get asked a lot in the first movie, like, a couple people watched it and they were like, man, that scene where you guys are like having your montage, drinking all the beer around the table, like, you guys must have got wasted. And I'm like, you know, that was Sprite, right? Like, I'm not 105 degree weather in like a tin can of a building, like chugging down ice cold beer. Like, as fun as that sounds, like, we would have not filmed a minute. We'd have been hammered. So
right.
Yeah. Sorry, I went off on a tangent, but
that's great. That's great. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. Well, anything else about the casting?
Well, yeah. I guess I can't talk about the movie without talking about the fact that my son, Tyson Mattson, is like, in my opinion, the lead of the movie, like one of the most important people in the movie. That was a lot of fun, you know, bringing in my son, and because we had him play a small bit part in the short where we wanted him to be the kid reading the comic book. So we didn't really give him any lines or anything. He just got to read that comic, and he had fun. So when it came time to writing this movie, he said, I really want a part, like a big part, if that's okay. And I said, if I write this, you know, you can't bail on me because I don't know any other 12-year-old kids, and I don't want to be a weirdo, like asking 12-year-old kids to be in my movie. So if you're going to do it, you got to do it. And he was like, yep, I'm in. So I wrote it, and he's kind of my little homage to Corey Feldman and in Friday the 13th Part 4, my little Tommy Jarvis. Like, he's just an unassuming little kid, but he's smarter than everyone. Like, he knows how to hook up all the electronics, and just he's the brains of the operation. So
awesome.
Had a lot of fun letting him be smarter than all the teenagers.
So that kind of leads into the next question.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say I can take this one.
There's one more cast member that was omitted.
Oh, who did I omit?
Drew Marvick.
Oh, yeah. Okay, before you go to that next question,
let
me talk about Pool Party Massacre director, writer, director, actor, Drew Marvick, who he's like a god among men as far as I'm concerned when it comes to indie horror. I just absolutely love this guy. I love everything he does. And I've been following him for a number of years, but I kept like sharing promo shots of TapeHead and stuff like that on my Facebook. And every time I would, Drew Marvick would be like the first comment. He'd be like, dude, this is awesome. Da-da-da. And I just couldn't believe it. I could not believe that someone who made a big movie knew who I was. So I'd like kind of fangirl and kind of geek out. I'm like, oh my God. I'd tell my wife, like, you wouldn't believe it. He said that TapeHead looks cool. And like a month into writing, he sent me a message on Facebook, and he was like, hey man, if you got like a bit part, a little role, like I'd love to come be in your movie. And I cried. Like, I'm not even fronting. I cried like a baby.
Amazing.
And I told him, I said, I would love for you to be in my movie, but I'm not sure I'm qualified to direct you. Like, I'm pretending. I'm nobody. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
I make it right now, dude.
Yeah.
Come on.
and he's like, man, I've been on some cheap sets. Like, no problem. I would love to do it. And pay me what you can. Just fly me out there and give me a place to stay and stuff. So I lied to him and told him I had a role for him. And then as soon as I got done confirming he was going to be in the movie, I went, exterior, night, alleyway. And I wrote a fucking, you know what I mean? Like, I wrote a little bit part for him. And he flew out, and like, he's as professional as it gets. He nailed his lines. We shot his entire scene for like multiple angles, like crazy gags, all kinds of stuff. We shot it in maybe 3 hours, like, because he never dropped a line. He never like stopped us and said like, was that good? Should I do it again? Like, you know what I mean? He killed it. And it like, I don't know, it like really let me, my wife, Remix, let everybody involved like see that we could do this. You know what I mean? Like, if we can hang with like a real actor who does this for real, and he didn't leave going, you guys fucking suck. This is fucking terrible. I'll never ever talk about you ever again. Like, he was like, you guys are rad. He like actually liked us. And there's like a big feather in my cap. Like, maybe I'm not now. Yeah. Like, I'm not as full of shit as I think I am. Like, maybe I am a real director, which I've always kind of had like contention with like saying out loud. Cause I'm like, I'm just a goon pretending to know how to make movies. But now I think I'm a real director. Like, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, and I think everybody starts there, I mean, like, probably everybody just starts in that whole, when you start doing something, you're like, I'm just trying to do it, and then everyone else is saying that you're the director. You know what I mean? Like, you're a director. Yeah. You're a director. It's a little hard to just buy it in your own head, like,
imposter
where
syndrome.
you want to be. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I get it still, but like, when I look at the footage, like, cause we're in the middle of the edit right now. And like, when I look at it, I'm like, you know what? Like, this is pretty fucking solid. Like, I'm not Quentin Tarantino. I'm not fucking Brian De Palma, but like, I'm making a fucking movie, and it's probably going to change my life. Like, no bullshit. Like, it's probably going to change everything for me. Like, we're just in this weird time where it hasn't yet, but it's like, I just know it's going to.
Right.
Crazy.
Yeah, dude, that's nuts. I mean, and that's what we were talking about. It's like knowing each other in the past, knowing what I knew you were about then, it's not hard for me to see that you're here. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it's never been like a doubt in your mind what you've loved and what you've wanted to kind of do. And it was really fun just to see obviously that shape and stuff that we've talked about and getting here.
It's wild.
So, but the next question is, because you have referenced this so many times and I know how solid she is and your family is in support, but what is it like working with your family on set? I know you talked a little bit already about with your son and stuff. Sounds like you couldn't do it without him. So let's hear about it a little bit. Like
I want to kill them. I want to kill them all. No, no, they're amazing. I never would have like jumped off the cliff, so to speak, like if it wasn't for my wife, you know. And I think like her having faith in me is literally the only reason I'm here. Because if I had said like out loud, if I had said, you know what, I think I'd like to get $7,000 and make a movie. If I had said that out loud and she went, that's fucking stupid. You've never done that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if there was a fucking inkling of doubt in her voice, I never would have made a movie. But like, she's like, okay, you know, it's just like, it's so like when this summer, when August, like, okay, like we start like looking at calendars and like marking off dates. Like there's never like, you're a fucking idiot. It's like, okay, let's go. And, yeah, she's a fucking rock star and, like never lets me have self-doubt, you know, always there to be like, yeah, let's go. You got it. You know what you're doing. And like, with my kids, so like my daughter, it's a little more off screen with her. She's, I don't think like she's, comfortable with being on camera, which neither am I, which is why I didn't do anything on camera in this movie. I was only in the other one out of necessity, but like, she's very good.
Uh-oh. We lost Roger's audio. Dustin's audio.
Notice that TapeHead is always kind of slimy. No, your audio, not mine. Hello?
It probably is. Yeah, you're fine.
We're good now.
Hello. Okay. So like, yeah, my daughter would be one of the like hands off, like offset that would, slather Dylan down with this stuff called thick water, which is like what they give to people with, is it dysphagia, where like old people have trouble swallowing. So they make like their liquids thicker. You just put this powder in it and like, it'll make anything almost like syrup. So like you can put it in your Mountain Dew and it'll be like drippy and slimy. So rather than cover Dylan in like KY jelly or Caro syrup, we opted for this thick water, which is literally just water, just kind of slimy. So it washes off really easy. But so like my daughter would mix that up. She would slather Dylan and all this shit. So he'd be all slimy. Anytime I needed like a colored slime, she would make it. Just she's really like hands-on with stuff like that. You guys need the light moved, you need this, you need that, like okay. But my son, he wanted to act. So that's, you know, that's a weird line to walk because first of all, like he's a kid, but he's my kid. So it's hard to like push a kid, you know what I mean? Like, hey man, like, you know, if he's breaking character and laughing or whatever, like, hey, you need to be like shitting your pants right now. Like, show me scared, you know? And I didn't have to be like rough or firm with him because like we're such good buddies and like obviously like he listens very well. So he'd be like, okay, so a little more like this or a little like this, and be like, yeah. And there were only a couple of times where we had to like take him off to the side and be like, okay, can you like just think of something that's happened to you that makes you sad? You know what I mean? Like access some sort of memory, whether that be like a time someone was being like mean to you or a time that like a loved one passed away. Like, can you just, if you just can think about it and let the emotion hit you? And he would. So, just trying to find like weird like workarounds without having to, you know, be like, man, we've been shooting this for an hour. Fucking stop smiling. You know what I mean? Like,
at the end of the day, he's still a kid. So I mean,
yeah. So finding a way for it to be like, almost like a game for him, like, you know, when you got to think of like a weird thing in your brain and bring it up, and like, so then after a while, you would think like that was kind of rad, like, oh, I could make myself cry because I would just think of like this one weird thing that happened to me, and then I can just shut it off. And I'm like, yeah, that's acting. Like you just acted your ass off, you know?
Acted, yeah,
yeah. And so like he's all about it, and he's like a physical phenom, so he wants to do a martial arts movie. So eventually I have to write some sort of martial arts movie for him. So
I saw that little dude's ripped.
Right, he's a
he's
beast,
like,
dude.
yeah,
dude. We're
Bruce
gonna
Lee
shoot
build for sure.
We were gonna do a short mock trailer for a movie called Bike Ninja, like, you know, make it like early 90s, like Three Ninjas, where he's like a kid on a bike and he sees like a mafia guy like whack someone or fucking, you know, do whatever, and then all the bumbling mafia guys are after him, and he uses his kung fu to kick their ass, like
Paperboy turned ninja.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
So we want to do a mock trailer for that. I don't know if we'll eventually do like a short, like a 15-20 minute short of Bike Ninja, but to kind of access that like early 90s, those stupid movies we used to watch, you know, Sidekicks,
So
Three
good.
Ninjas, Surf Ninjas,
good.
like all that weird stuff, you know.
Absolutely. Hit him, Thundy.
Oh, it's Shade's turn. Shade's turn.
Oh, hit him, Shades.
All right, so 3B's known for its 3B's: blood, boobs, and beasts. We had all three in the first. Do we get all three in the second?
Okay, yeah, this is I kind of gotta
You always plead the fifth. Don't forget, it's a possibility.
I'm gonna say this. I'll say this, and you guys can interpret this. However, I will say there are no boobs, but there is nudity.
Uh-oh.
That's all I'm gonna say. So you have to
Strip
figure
clubs
that
I
out.
don't go to.
You never know what you're gonna see.
Oh yeah, true that.
Because we really wanted to, like when we're working on like making TapeHead more visceral, a little more angry. So there are certain things that we did in this movie that, in my opinion, I think would probably deny us a theatrical release. So, you know, I felt pretty good about like the blood, the violence, the things that happen. I mean, it's not Showgirls or any, you know what I mean? It's not like that type of gratuitous, but there's a couple things in it where I don't know that I've ever seen on a theater screen. So it makes me pretty proud.
What you're saying is we're getting full frontal of Tapehead.
Oh my god.
It's all rotten and got maggots coming in and out of his pee hole.
Oh, man.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't.
All right, I'm out.
Maybe
that's what
my
maybe
wallet.
we do.
Take my wallet. No.
We might have to do a like a Tapehead sexy calendar where he's like posing all sexy, but he's all
We've
but he's
talked
all
about
rotten.
that with Cyber Skull Media.
We
We were like,
need a
hey,
Tapehead.
how about a calendar, bro, to raise money? Let's do this. Let's do that.
Yes, here's Tapehead as a fireman.
Take my money fast now.
Yes. Here's Tapehead as a lawyer. Like, I don't know, whatever fucking. Last week we put liquid paper on a bee. It died.
Here's Tapehead as a librarian.
Oh my goodness. You got to be quiet.
Better not return those books late.
Yeah, late fees are killer. It's
right.
true.
Get
So-
him, Thundy.
Our last question about necessarily the casting portion is there was rumored to be a scene that got cut with Cyber Skull Media. Inquiring minds want to know what happened.
Okay, so the Cyber Skull Media cameo that we had discussed, you never know, could still come into fruition. So for one, we ran out of nice weather, but we are rapidly approaching nice weather again, which is how long it's taken us to do this film. We actually have a couple inserts we have to grab, and then we have some reshoots we're doing in Kansas City next month. I believe it's next month. So, the issue with the Cyber Skull Media cameo would be, if I wasn't hitting my runtime mark, was what we had discussed. Because if I am not hitting my runtime mark, I wouldn't mind adding in another scene with yours truly, with you guys, and possibly
Such a
kill
nice
you.
way of going around the fact that he's like, you fucking suck.
No.
It's
It's literally a runtime issue, and
yeah,
it's because if I don't hit my runtime and I need those extra minutes, that's the scene that I want to shoot, which is I won't spoil it for anyone watching, but I talked to you guys about kind of a like a Jason Takes Manhattan homage type of scene. So that's there, and that could possibly happen. But again, it's fucking cold and no one wants to be outside freezing our dicks off for fucking 9 hours trying to shoot a scene.
Right.
It's not fun. So perhaps it is there and could happen. If it doesn't happen for the movie, I would not be opposed to shooting it as a short for the channel. So if you guys are down,
Always
perhaps
down to clown, baby.
in between tape films, there could be some Tapehead shorts, because I've had a lot of people already ask me, what's after the return of Jacob Cobb? Are we doing Tapehead 3? Or, I mean, technically it would be Tapehead 2. Are you doing Tapehead 2, 3, 4, Tapehead in space, Tapehead goes to Africa, whatever? Like, are you doing any, and I'm like, maybe, but once we're done with this movie, we're going to take like a fairly large break, because Tapehead has been a part of my life for the past 3+ years, with the cartoon to the short to the feature now. And we've got some other ideas that we want to do, but we also want this movie to get done so we can go do the festival circuit, go do the convention circuit, start making a name for ourselves. And I don't want this movie to come and go and fade into obscurity. Like, I want indie horror fans to know who we are, and for it to kind of pick up some traction, because like I'm very proud of what we've done, and I want to see the mark that it's going to make, before I jump on to the next thing. I want to kind of live in the mark that Tapehead is making, or keep making it, and then go from there. Maybe next year or the year after, shoot our next big project.
Right. Well,
Awesome.
and yeah, I mean, like, burnout is real as well.
It is, man.
You know what I mean? So you definitely don't want to do that. And
yeah, and I mean, so as much as Dylan loves playing Tapehead, and as much as he's like, anytime you ask, I'll put that fucking mask on, I'll put those sleeves on, those bibs on, like he's always ready to go. You can't deny that it's not fun in all of, you know what I mean? He's sweating, it's heavy, it's cumbersome. It's not like I'm having a great time. Like, it's like, fucking hurry up and get the shot, like I'm sweating my dick off. And so it'd be nice to like let him have a break from having all that shit on him, especially like, again, we're not getting any younger. Dylan's older than me, so Dylan's in his early 40s, and it's like eventually that stuff catches up to you, like losing 20 pounds in a day.
The duration that I can't, that I could. I used to be able to do this, I fully understand that. And dude, like, I've had a job to where I had to put on cut proof sleeves that they feel thin, they're light, but man, they add like you feel 80 degrees when you're wearing shorts and no sleeves.
Yeah.
We feel, 130 with sleeves and pants. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
for
that's
sure.
crazy. So
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, and we're not spring chickens anymore, man. Like our AARP cards are fucking coming. Like we're getting up there. So,
life alert.
Yeah. yeah, I've fallen and I can't get up. It's coming, man. And so we just want to work on some other things that maybe aren't so like prosthetic or makeup intensive. It's easier to like rehydrate, when you're not covered in silicone. So we'll see. We've got some plans.
And maybe
yeah, I know.
And I may be way off this, but like just finding that where does that sit and where do we need to go? Because you know what I mean? Like you said, push the film, get it out there, put it where in front of the eyes that it needs to be in front of, do those kinds of things, and that'll tell you more. I think definitely where you might be going next.
Yeah. I mean, because again, never say never, because if I'm like, put this out and then people are like, when's the next one coming out? Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? It'll be like
tomorrow.
Reluctantly. Yeah, like, okay,
Yeah.
we're going to get started. You can't kill Tapehead. He never dies. So like, yeah, if I have to jump back into Brower, Illinois, I will, but I'm kind of ready to be like, let this motherfucker rest for a hot minute.
Right. Next question kind of has to go. Thunder, you asking this one? Shades?
That was yours. Crude.
Oh, I guess me. I don't know why I'm asking somebody else.
Yeah.
So, filming locations. How did you choose where both movies were shot? You know what I mean? Because where we're from, that's crazy. Like it's not just like it happens every day elsewhere. So,
well, like all decisions, it's based on money. So, with the first movie, what we were planning on doing was renting a storefront from downtown. Because we needed the abandoned video store. We were like, we'll rent a storefront and we'll just shoot in there. And that was, but the problem with that was like, you gotta rent a building. Like I have to get utilities turned on, like electric, water. Like it seemed practical until I started crunching the numbers and I went, well, if we don't have $5,000 budget, like it's all going to that building, for 1 month and that's it. Absolutely. So we were kind of in panic mode. And then my wife's mom was like, hey, you guys could use our building in Farragut. I'm like, you guys have a building? They're like, yeah, it's the old vet clinic. Like whatever you want to do, you can do whatever you want in there. So we got the building for free. So
oh man,
that's how we got the video barn for the first movie. And when it came to this movie, the plan originally was to shoot in Omaha, Nebraska. And what we were going to do was we were going to rent an Airbnb that was big enough for the cast and crew. We're going to rent it for like a week or two and then have us all just kind of like summer camp. Like all of us stay there and shoot in an Airbnb and just guerrilla get this movie done in a location, like a neat looking house was the plan. But then that became like, logically, people can't take 2 weeks off of work. People can't take 2 weeks away from like their kids or whatever, So we were kind of faced with that. And then we were like, well, if we shoot, 2 days on, take a week off, 2 days on, take a week off, we would end up renting an Airbnb like fucking 30 times. And that would be really expensive. So we decided, or rather I decided, and my wife was very against, let me just go on record and say that I said, what if we just shot it in our house? And she was like, yeah, and fucking ruin everything. Like ruin the floors, ruin the walls, ruin the, break windows, whatever, like anything that could happen. And I was like, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, cause if it's our house, it's our fucking problem. Like if we take a chip out of the drywall, well, I guess I'm going to patch that drywall or whatever, So,
like,
first, at first she was like, you're an idiot. Like, that's not a good idea. I don't like that idea. And then, I wore her down Shades knows the deal. We know construction. Like, I worked construction, so it's like, I promise if I break the wall, I'll fix it. I can fix it. I don't want to, but I can. So, I kind of wore her down, and then we were like, fine, fuck it, we'll shoot in our house. So, not a lot of the budget, but some of the budget went to buying like crazy paint colors and making our house not so boring, because our house is kind of like a light brown in a bunch of the rooms. So we went really outlandish: blue walls, neon green walls, yellow walls, pink and blue walls, just so it kind of had some more character. And then we, we took the script and kind of modified it to our living space, because when I wrote the script anyway, I wrote it in this house. So I kind of was just using this house as my frame of reference for like, oh, the staircase is probably like this, or there's probably a bathroom on the second story or whatever. Like, so the script was pretty close to our house anyway. It just required a couple little tweaks. And then, we shot everything in here, and we didn't ruin very much. So I feel pretty good.
To a minimal.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah. We didn't break too much shit. So,
well, Shades, you want to take the next one?
Yeah. How long was the shoot for the first movie? How long was the second one?
With the first movie, what was that? 4 days remix?
3 days of principal photography, and then an extra day or two of just
inserts.
Pickups.
So 4, maybe 5 days for that first movie, like run and gun nonstop. With the second movie, we started shooting the last weekend of July. We shot every weekend in August, and we shot 2 weekends into September. We were done September 11th, which is crazy. And then since then, we've had like half days here, half days there. Like, we shot the opening credits sequence in maybe like 3 hours here in my living room. We shot Jacob's resurrection in my living room. Like, we basically used my house for a soundstage, and now it's a graveyard. Now it's whatever. It's a hole in the ground. Now it's this. Now it's that. And we just had, over the weekend, we shot some more inserts. So we're still going, because we have maybe half a day of inserts to do in my yard, and then we have maybe a full day of shooting to do in Kansas City. So I don't know how many days that is, or is going to turn out to be.
2, 3.
15, 16 days of,
overall.
Yeah, overall, probably. It's the edit that's the killer, because we kind of shot ourselves in the foot with the first movie. We wrapped in the first weekend of June, and then I said it'll be available on DVD and Blu-ray by October 31st. So I didn't give myself much time for like editing. This time I was like, maybe May or June. So I kind of gave us almost a full year. And even at that, we have inserts that we're shooting in like 2 weeks, and we're getting closer to May and June. So I don't know, man. It's tough. Every time I'm like, I gave us plenty of time. Now I'm like, fuck, I'm scared.
Once again, that's those getting into projects and then realizing the amount of work. And then that makes you appreciate the work you've seen other people do, where you think it's like a small skit, but you're like, man, that probably took them like 2 hours. Like you didn't, 3 hours. Like after you try to do it, you're like, oh man.
Yeah, it's very
like,
it's time consuming as hell. And I mean, especially like, I was very meticulous with this film too. Like, I storyboarded everything, so I knew like what I wanted. I also, like, 2 to 3 days before shooting, like, my wife and I would go through and we would put marks down on the floor, like this for this scene, this actor's here, this actor's here, this actor's here. Like we labeled all these different colored tape strips on the floor. The lights go here. The lights are this intensity, this color, da 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 da. So like we did all that work ahead of time, so that when the actors were here, we could be like, you stand there, light, camera, go. Like we were, and even as like on top of it as we were with that, and having the storyboards and having like reference photos, there were still things where we'd be like in the heat of the moment and we'd forget, like we didn't get like the insert of the hand on the doorknob or whatever, So then like, that means I got to put the fucking tape head hand on and turn a doorknob or whatever. Like, so I've shimped for everyone. I've been every cast member's hands. I've been their feet. I've been tape head. Remix has been tape head. Oh yeah.
Dude, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, whatever it takes to get the shot. You're like, well, I don't want to have Dylan like drive 45 minutes over here and do this and do that. Like, who do we have? Remix, put the mask on. Like,
yeah,
okay.
I want to sit there and watch it with you now because I want you to point it out to me. Like, oh yeah, no, that was my hand, or that was this. Like, that would be so cool. Chalk that up as an idea. By the way, just put that over there.
We know how some of that goes with like shooting the Mikey stuff. Like we've had to have people stand in, or when we killed Shades off in the first one, someone had to stab him that wasn't him.
Yeah.
And like editing takes forever. Like when we shot our Packy One Chip Challenge, the shooting plus editing for a 15-minute video took 12 hours.
Oh yeah,
it takes a while.
It's madness. Yeah, absolute madness, and people don't like take that into consideration. We've been editing. We decided we weren't going to edit until November 1st. So like we took the rest of September off because, like I said, we stopped September 11th, and we're like, we're not going to edit the entire month of October because we're big Halloween people. So, we decorated and like just kind of decompressed from the movie, and then jumped into edit November 1st. But, like we have kids, we have like regular lives. So we can't be like, we're going to edit for 16 hours today. Like we might get 20 minutes one day. We might get 4 hours another day. So like the edit takes a while, and then you get the first pass done and you're like, well, this sucks. Like, why does this suck? Oh, because we didn't do this or we didn't do that. So like you just keep adding pieces to the puzzle or taking pieces away, and eventually you have something that's pretty fucking rad. But that first assembly cut makes you want to die. You just want to die. And
could imagine.
And unfortunately, like that first Tapehead short is essentially like an assembly cut because it was like our one pass. We didn't get to go back through it and like try to find other footage and fix scenes. We were just like, that's as good as it's gonna get. Now it's out, So with this movie, we're allowing ourselves more time to be like, man, I really don't like the way he stood right there, or the way he like puffed his chest or whatever. Like different take. So yeah. But we got to walk away eventually. It's got to be done eventually. So.
Right. Well, we've only got about 3 or 4 more questions here for you. So you got
okay. I'm sorry I'm rambling so much.
Oh no, you're
dude,
good.
We
this
love
is
it.
Good stuff.
We love it.
This is good stuff. Some of the stuff you covered, so we've already crossed those off. So, something. So with the script, were you able to just keep the script as you wrote pre-shooting, or did you have to do rewrites or make any changes during the shoot?
It's pretty faithful to the script. There are a few things, like I said, that it just happens on the day. You're shooting, you're kind of caught up in the moment, and you either like overlook a storyboard, or you're not like reading because you have a script supervisor on set at all times who's like, you need this line, you need this line, you need this line. And sometimes you would overlook like an action cue or like a B-roll shot. Like, oh, we didn't get like a pan down of like the moon into the front yard or what, like, it's little stuff like that where you like, when you write it, you have a very like clear vision. Like, I really like the way this pan or this tilt looks. So you specifically write that into the script. And then on the day, you've been shooting for 12 hours. It's like 2:30 in the morning. People are like, just get the shot. I want to go home, And so like, sometimes you miss things, and as a result, when you start editing, you're like, well, that didn't quite match like what I had in mind. So you kind of like Frankenstein it and make it work.
Yeah.
The dialogue basically is almost verbatim to the way it was in the script. And I think the best part about that is like working with people who aren't necessarily like seasoned actors. You know what I mean? Like a seasoned actor who is like very comfortable will ad lib just a little bit, or, you know, add a different inflection, or maybe kind of give you like 2 or 3 variations of the same line, like not say the exact same thing, but say the equivalent of it. But since people were so kind of green, they're like, what's my line? And you say, you know, your line is, well, whoever's outside, I'm going to fuck them up. Okay, well,
Right.
whoever's outside, I'm going to fuck them up. Try it a little more angry this time. Whoever's outside, I'm going to fuck them up. You know what I mean? Like they say fucking verbatim what you tell them to say.
You have to know exactly what you want them to say.
Yeah, and so in that aspect, like, again, I'm no Quentin Tarantino, but like he's very much a stickler to his dialogue. Like what he writes is what he wants people to say. And it pretty much is that way from script to screen in our movie, with the exception of maybe Drew Marvick, because again, he's a very seasoned actor. So he did it straight. Like he gave us like 4 takes of it straight, and then was like, I'm going to say a couple other things if you're okay. And some of the other like weird, quirky things he said, they made it. Like when we were in the edit, we're like, that's fucking too good. Like leave that, you know? So, yeah, it didn't change too much.
So
Well,
you're
and if you
saying
leave
that
yourself open to like some other people's things, like you might be like, oh man, yeah, I didn't think of that. Like, yeah,
exactly.
You know, like that's perfect. I get that.
So you're saying you're not Quentin Tarantino, so there's no feet in this movie?
Oh, actually, there's an abundance of feet in this movie.
Abundance of feet.
I'm going to tell you this. Okay. So it was unintentional, absolutely unintentional. But here's the thing. Here's the thing about feet. Okay. Let's say, I mean, we were just talking about being in the heat of the moment and like missing the like certain take or not getting the shot you wanted to get. So let's say you don't have your monster or you don't have your actor that you need the day. Like you're in the edit and you're like, fuck, how does such and such actor get from point A to point B? Because this cut makes no sense. Well, put some fucking shoes on and shoot a low angle of some feet running and or walking to said location, and then magically that actor is in that location. So a lot of fucking feet, dude. I'm not gonna front. There's a lot of like, and you know, I should have saw it when we were getting those shots, because it seemed to me like every other day I was like, put the camera on the ground, just get the feet. Just get the feet. That's all we need, you know. And it's a lot.
There is an honest to God Tarantino shot in the film for feet, though.
Yeah, we got some naked feet, a couple naked feet.
So that's fantastic.
You know, if only they had like dirty soles on the bottom, you know, like because that's his thing too.
Gosh. Yeah,
they always got to be dirty.
I know how to make this movie make money. We just film it in a way that the feet fetish community is gonna love.
Yes. Yeah. I'm gonna just start an OnlyFans for the tape or for the feet shots in this movie.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. I'm gonna be rolling.
Like, for your horror movie, you're like, what's the top 5 weird ass things people like? All right, let's put those.
Stepmom feet. Let's go. She's helping me pick out my college, and my hotel room only has 1 bed. Or whatever. I don't know what the fucking. It's a weird thing. It's a weird thing that the world's going through right now.
Yeah, scripting always intrigues me. Is that's like the one thing that I'm still really trying to figure out is scripting things and writing dialogue, especially. And found it fascinating recently that I found out that Sylvester Stallone, whenever he comes onto a project, there's usually extensive rewrites because he's got an incredible mind for writing and scripting.
Yeah,
that I didn't.
Oh, he's a very talented writer.
So,
You didn't know he wrote and directed Rocky?
Well, I knew like the Rocky, but
that was the stipulation, wasn't it? To it being made, he was like, "I'm not selling you my script. I'm absolutely not."
This movie's gonna make my career. Yeah.
I actually think that I learned that off of either it was a podcast or a video of yours I watched. I watched you guys talk about that, and I was like, "That is super fucking interesting, bro." Like I was.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
From Chuck Dixon, who's a comic book legend, because they've collabed on some Expendables and Rambo comics. So there's one that they're working on that's, I think, called First Kill, that I think is still on like Indiegogo or something in the crowdfunding, that's about Rambo in Vietnam before the movies. So,
hell yeah.
And Tulsa King is fucking phenomenal. If no one's seen it, go watch it. Everyone I tell about it binges it in 2 days.
Yeah, you gotta watch Tulsa King. Go do that right now.
But
oh shit.
All right, well, who's next in the questions? That would be Crude.
I'll let him with it. I'll go quick. Where did the sound effects and the music come from? I saw you kind of playing around on a video. You were like playing with some sound thing, and I want to know, is that how...
okay. Oh, is that how we did the music? Yeah. So first off, I got to give a shout out to composer Christoph Weddy. If you're out there watching, just lurking, Christoph, what's up? But Christoph Weddy is this amazing composer / director, writer. Like he's a jack of all trades, does everything. And he found us through our YouTube channel, and he's been kind of a supporter of what we do. And he'll always send me like music that he composes and be like, "What do you think of this?" And like he's Carpenter-esque, like very John Carpenter-esque, talented composer. And I love everything he does. Well, when I started writing TapeHead, I got a notebook, and Evil and I talk about this all the time. We kind of talk about like the benchmarks of what make a successful slasher. And a lot of the things are like the look and the silhouette, like a unique resurrection story, a unique means of dispatching them, but perhaps like a custom weapon, Freddy with the glove or whatever. But it all kind of boils down to a theme. Also, like every successful slasher franchise or just successful slasher in general, they have a theme, whether that's Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers, Leatherface, even with the flashbulb sound that they used. They all have, Jason, they all have something. And it's not necessarily like reinventing the wheel. I mean, like the key ma thing that Harry Manfredini came up with for Jason. He literally had a microphone with echo and just said like the first letters of killer mommy, like kill her mommy, kill ma, and it echoed, and then it became fucking iconic. So I talked to Christoph and I said, I need a theme for my slasher. And I said, very Carpenter, like don't go overly complex. It needs to be an earbug, it needs to be like 2 or 3 notes, whatever, that you'll hum, you'll whistle, like it gets stuck in your head. Like everybody, even if you haven't seen a Halloween movie, like
that's what I was going to say. Yeah,
everybody knows
those things outreach the actual movies themselves.
Exactly. Yeah. And the iterations of that theme, like it's one piece of music, but it's used 60 times in that movie, whether it be like on a deeper chord or slower, like, like to convey each different mood. So Christoph did that for me. But then additional music, I used what is known as a stylophone, which is kind of like this weird electric synthesizer. It's just an odd piece of musical equipment. Like David Bowie used to use one, and it just makes really like, it can make beautiful noises, but it can also make really like off-putting analog crunchy
kind of.
Yeah, just like I don't know if any of you saw Smile. if you saw the new movie Smile, but it's phenomenal. But one of the reasons that it's phenomenal is the music is so like makes you get goosebumps and like the hair stand up on the back of your neck. It's so bothersome that I wanted something like that. So I used the stylophone to kind of get that sound, like a weird, nasty analog, just gross. I don't want it to necessarily be music, but I want it to be gross. So there's a lot of weird tones and things like that throughout the movie. But additional stuff like stingers and sound effects, we use a site called Motion Array, which allows us to use so if you need like a good door opening sound or floor creaking, things like that, like weird sound effects or just rising music or ominous tones, that's what we use.
Awesome, good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, Shades.
When are we getting it? When can I get my hard copy?
The release, I'm hoping late May, early June. So
May 20th.
May 20th. Is that a birthday? Your birthday?
Oh yeah.
All right.
It's Shade's birthday.
Well, that is a
you heard it
very,
here, folks.
Yeah. Send him presents
to me.
That's copyright. You get in trouble. Don't do that. You get your channel struck.
Not anymore. It's free, motherfuckers.
Oh, it's free domain. Boom. But yeah, I'm shooting for end of May, early June, because like I said, we've got these inserts that we have to get. So not only do we have to shoot these inserts, but then we have to edit and make it nice. But we also have some special features that we're trying to get nailed down. And the sooner we get the picture locked, sooner I can do more like multiple commentaries and things like that. Cause I don't want to skimp on special features at all. So I want to give you guys like your money's worth. We tried with the first movie. I want to do more with this one. So
I want to know when it's your hand. I need that.
I will tell you
I want to know when
every
it's your
time.
feet. I need to know.
Anytime it looks like far too muscular to be any of our leads, then you know it's my arm. Like both of our lead actors, they're kind of thinner guys. So like anytime like a hand reaches for money or like a beer and it's like a meaty fucking forearm, like
when did she get so much hair on her arm?
Yeah, like got hairy knuckles up in this motherfucker. Yeah,
it's
I just painted my fingernails. Like, yeah,
Scary movie.
It's so good.
Scary movie when she flashes him and it's the guy's body.
Gosh.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Someone asked if there
digital.
will be a digital.
That's the conundrum. Like, I understand the reach that having a digital film would give us, but I'm also very like anti-streaming and
Core values.
So it's like,
no, what happened?
Do I want? Oh no,
nothing.
Well, now you're going to be the center of attention.
So it's like,
yeah, you can't leave and come back, guy.
Do I want
it was
money?
Gone. Sorry,
should have left it.
Do I want money more than I want to like stick to my values? And my values are very like physical media. And
3B video store. I mean, I get what you're about from a fan.
I'm from that era, you know, and so putting it on streaming would definitely like help me become like a more well-known director, but like it's so against what I love and what I believe, and I'd almost rather be hungry than available on multiple platforms. Like it's a weird hill to die on, and I know that it can potentially kill the movie. So I tread lightly because I don't want to say never, because I could possibly down the road put it on streaming somewhere, but I don't necessarily have plans to, if that makes sense. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to the people who like, it blows my mind the amount of people who do not own a Blu-ray player. I just want to throw that out there. Like a lot of people that are like in my immediate circle are like, yeah, I don't have a DVD player anymore. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
I think without a game system, I wouldn't either. I mean, like, I have a gaming system that plays Blu-rays. I don't know if I would either.
do you have DVDs and Blu-rays at your house?
Yes, I do. I have.
So yeah, so like, you know what I mean? Like, I just can't fathom
not
letting go of those things. Like, you know, eventually, like movie licenses and stuff, they expire. So like, you might be like super cool with Netflix because it's got every season of Dukes of Hazzard or whatever. I don't know. I don't, you know, but like, and you fucking love Dukes of Hazzard, but you don't own it. And then like some random Monday, you're like, you know what? I'm going to watch Dukes of Hazzard, and it's fucking gone. Like, well, now you can't watch that. Like, but if you owned that shit, you could take it off your shelf and go, where was I? Oh yeah. Season 2, episode 7, like whatever. Like, so
not to get on the whole like video store thing and everything, but like that was some of the cool, like when my dad would be like, yeah, we'll go down to the video store and rent something.
Mhm.
I was like ecstatic. See, now me and my daughter just sit on a couch and we're just like, what are we gonna watch today? You know, like,
spend more time scrolling than you do watching. Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, absolutely. So,
Yeah, so,
you know, when
I don't
you
know,
go
man.
there and you're like, I'm looking for horror today, and then it's right here. So I get it. I mean, I totally
Mhm.
get it. Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Something
it
different about
alive.
like taking it off the shelf, like reading the synopsis on the back and looking at a couple pictures, like the sound a clamshell makes when you pop it open, or like the smell of a new DVD. Like, it's just different. It's a different time. Like, so yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe streaming, but you can't smell it. I mean, I don't know.
It could be a scratch and sniff sticker that you can smell, and it smells just like Dylan when he's dressed up in Tapehead by the end of the shoot.
Smell real fucking rough.
Next time
Actually,
you
he
get a
always
take,
smelled pretty good. He always smelled pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
next time you get a take, just have him stick it in his shirt, pull it back out, stick it in
Yeah.
his shirt, pull it back out. These are the
yeah.
5 copies of the Dylan version.
Yeah, where the artwork is all runny because it's fucking waterlogged. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well,
is there
all right.
anything else you'd like to add? That's all of our questions.
Dude,
Holy moly! No, I mean, I ranted and rambled and took you guys clear to 11 o'clock, and I feel
amazing.
I feel
dude.
bad. I feel bad
no.
for.
Oh no,
Amazing.
we go
Talking
late
so
on
long.
these shows, so
I guess if there's anything to add, I'll just keep it brief. You know, if you've ever like thought about making a movie or a short or a YouTube channel or a podcast or whatever, if you've ever thought about being creative in one aspect or the other and you just haven't because it seems out of reach or it seems like people won't support you or whatever, you should just do it. You should just bite the bullet, like, and
Great
do
advice.
it. Yeah, do what you want to do. There's nothing worse than like running out of time and realizing like you've never done that thing, like that you like, oh, I'd like to do this, but I just never did. Like, this could go somewhere, this could not go somewhere for me, but I'm gonna ride this out until I have to get a 9 to 5. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna
I
do
would at
this.
least, ride or die on it. You know, I mean, like
Yeah.
that's just the way that
Absolutely.
it is. Absolutely. Great
Until I
advice.
absolutely crash and burn. So get like creative, chase your fucking dreams, because life is way too short. Absolutely. So that's all
Brought
you're gonna
to
get from
you
me.
by
Is fucking
writer and director Dustin Mattson. Quote
Yeah.
that shit. Put it on a T-shirt.
make something stupid. There you go.
Oh, dude, that shit.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, this has been fantastic tonight. I don't know if you guys have anything else, if chat has anything else.
Thank you so much,
all
man,
I know,
for coming and joining us.
yes, this was
Anytime, man.
fantastic. This was fantastic. All I know is my favorite character in a horror movie of all time is Marty from Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah. Yeah. Fucking, why am I blanking on the line of dialogue? A huge bong in your father's RV? What are you, stoned? Boom.
What was that? Leonardo DiCaprio and Critters. I fucking love the Critter movies, bro.
Critters 3, man. Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Introducing Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, "What?" Like,
Yeah. That movie slept on as fuck too. Critters 3, where they attack the apartment complex, is rad as shit.
Oh, dude,
Just
it's so
saying.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't go down that road. You
I
ever
have
talk about Critters? I
flashbacks.
told you, have me on the show. I will talk about that fucking movies all day. I love them.
That specific movie scarred me as a child. Like the basement, I guess, when they're like all full. Like there was that scene just seared into my brain as a child that I could never remember for the life of me what it was from.
With the landlord, yeah. The shitty landlord, and they fuck him up, yeah.
Close the basket. Yeah.
Yep, good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, brother.
Yeah, it was fantastic having you on, man. You know, it was great.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed yourself. I hope everybody enjoyed our first guest on the Cyber Skull Lounge. We're hoping to have more. So if you know anyone who we could interview and have on, let us know. Hit them up. Tell them we'd like to have them on. We will be having TapeHead himself on sometime around the release date of the movie. So
wow,
keep that in mind down the road after this movie gets dropped. We're gonna have TapeHead on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice. He might. Hopefully, he doesn't kill you all. So, yeah. Don't bring him in the studio.
I'm gonna make sure he brings us some hot sauce.
He will. Peace.
But everybody
Peace
have
out,
a great
y'all.
night.
Take us out.
Let me run through what we've got coming up. And then we'll bounce on out of here. We got next Thursday is our Gaming with Thundy. Every Thursday night we play video games. Right now we're trying to finish up Halo Infinite campaign, and once a month we do community game night with our community with Jackbox Party Pack and some other games that people can hop in on, and all you need is your phone. So we're gonna have another lounge next month. It may be a movie discussion, and since it's April, probably gonna be a stoner movie. So we just got to figure out exactly what we want to do. We got a spicy video coming on up with a hot sauce that may have actually broken Shades and myself, and so that'll be interesting. Keep on the lookout for that. And yeah, that's what we've got going on. That's what we've got coming on up. You got anything coming up, Dustin?
Let me think.
A movie.
Yeah, the movie's coming out. No, brand new. Is that up? Am I up? Brand new episode of the Deep Cut podcast will be up on Spotify and all of your podcast apparatuses next Friday at noon. We are 68 podcasts in, so there's plenty of back catalog covering the most random shit ever. Yeah,
dude.
Check out new podcast episodes. And
knowledge you guys possess is crazy. So go on there, check it out.
Yeah, it's free, doesn't cost you a dime, and I guess you could join our Discord or our Patreon or any number of other things. Follow me on Instagram, where I am trending right now for some god awful reason. And I don't know. Yeah, I have. What do I have? Like 700,000 views on one of my fucking reels on there, and I'm trending on Instagram right now.
Nice.
I don't know why.
Nice.
So if those people would all buy TapeHead, I would retire. So
hell yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Follow me on all of your social media apparatuses, and you'll never miss an update on TapeHead. If you want
we got
one.
more 3B socials. Their links in the description. Go subscribe to them on YouTube so you don't miss a beat. They like to live stream on Friday nights and talk about movies. And go check out the first TapeHead short that they made. It's free. It's on their YouTube channel. And if you like it, go buy a copy and hit up their merch store, because these guys are going places. So
we're trying.
We're trying. So are we. So speaking of...
I know him.
Dustin likes to write some of his own outros musically. I didn't check our outro tonight to make sure it was updated and not like from our last movie. So if it's correct, you may get one that Thundy wrote himself. So thank you everybody for coming out tonight. Thank you, Dustin, for having us on. Thank you, Remix, for being available tonight to help him out. Thank you, everyone. This has been Cyber Skull Media. We are out of here. Peace.
Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for being cool. Thanks for rocking with us from the start. That rules. We wanna thank you all, from the likes to the views. Reading all your words makes this whole thing true. Cyber Skull Media is here because of you. From Shades, Thundy, and that dude Crude, I say thank you. Yeah, I say thank you. Yeah, we say thank you. Yeah, we say thank you. We out.